So, just getting home from work. Uh, was doing some work for this company who sets up for events and breaks down for these same events. The events we set up for are like trade shows. That's what it is, trade shows. And so basically, companies will hire companies to set up, to design booths for them. Um, and these booths will be designed, set up, and broken down within the span of like a week, right? So this one, Sea Air and Space Show, the show that I've done previously with this company is the Army show. And so like setting up these shows for these war machines, for companies who are participating in this war machine. Today our client was in the aerospace. And so part of the booth was they had a setup for an ejection seat. They had a setup for interactive interactive simulations with um, submarines, with battleships, different things like that. And it's just like, bro, one question that's been coming up consistently, and it kind of goes back to the last um, to the last episode when I was talking about what do we believe, but it's just like, bro, if what they say is true, how could we ever find freedom in this system, bruh? And like the they that I'm talking about is the ancestors, right? Like these are the people, the ancestors. We'd be like, oh, praying to the ancestors, praying to the ancestors, bro. If what they say is true, why are we pursuing a system that would allow people's ancestry to have this level of suffering in it, right? So there are people who are descendants of people who exist in the society that we live in now, who when they pray to their ancestors will know the struggle that we are, like the struggles that people are experiencing today. Why are we continue to exist in a system that says that these struggles are okay? And then why are we contributing to it? One of my boys, he said something interesting, but he said, and I don't want it to seem like I'm talking about a particular race of people. I don't want it to seem like I'm talking about a particular group of people, but in this instance I am. And so but the experience of this people is only a microcosm of the greater experience, right? Like when we look at the suffering of a certain group of people, this is a suffering that is that can be attributed to all people. Like what SpongeBob said, use your imagination, man. Like think outside of what you're hearing and see if it correlates to anything that you're experiencing. But he said all industry. This is the quote that my boy said. My man Q. You can find his material on Substantive Material. Um, if it looks similar to this, it's because I shot it. But we was heading out to have a conversation about shooting some of his material, and it was just like something he said all industries, not some, and he wasn't speaking hyperbolic. He wasn't. This is the other thing, right? Like there is time for hyperbole, and we understand the hyperbole. There are other times when there is no hyperbole and we're speaking the truth, and it's just all industry has a direct line. And like when he says direct, he means direct, not a dotted line, not like a curved path where it eventually gets there. Direct. Industry, direct. So all industry has a direct path to the harm of black people. And it's like, you think about it and you think it's a hyperbolic statement, But then it's not a hyperbolic statement, right? All industry, man. And it's just like, if what they said is true, they being the ancestors, the ones who came before us, why do we think that this system that then had the propensity to exist in the way that when we look back at our ancestral heritage in this system, why do we think moving forward that the system won't continue to produce the things that the system was meant to produce? Man, I met a dude on this job. And he asked me for a ride home. I'm like, yeah, nigga, like, yeah. If you know the way I operate, like, it's nothing. And he lived relatively close to where I live, so I'm like, yeah, that's easy, bro. Like, consider it done. But like the level of skepticism that he had, and even being able to believe my word, I'm like, bro, like, what have you experienced that is not allowing you to trust someone who is in a similar position? What have you experienced that is not allowing you to receive the good things that are coming to you? And it's like, I can't help but think that it's systematic, right? Like, it's not an individual thing, so I don't take it personally. Can't help but think that it's systematic. And like that his expression of this thing is just uh, it just makes me sad, bro. I think that's the biggest thing, is it just makes me sad that as we continue to progress into this thing, that there are people who will look back at their ancestry, and like, if the if the understanding of ancestry continues the way that people in my community continue to view it, there's this level of struggle that will exist because of the system that we continue to perpetrate. And it's just like, bro. And then, but then it's like, there are people who are suffering, and people who will be like praying to their ancestors, who will experience suffering due to a system that we perpetrate in the hopes of freedom, when the system that we're perpetrating, our ancestors have told us that it leads to suffering. Our ancestors have told us, and like, for me, even for me, I'm like, well, like, I'm going to this event, and the reason I'm going to this event is because the hourly pay is cool. Or the reason I'm helping set up for this event because the hourly pay is cool. But I'm like, dang, even me, I'm continuing to like, even me, by going and even putting my energy and effort into this system, I have contributed directly to the war machine. Like, seeing fucking, we put together a missile so the missile could be hung on rafters and lifted up to the ceiling. And so when people come in, they on display is this fucking missile for them to interact with and engage with, and like, they're like, okay, like, how do we, this is a missile that gets attached to an airplane. I'm looking at tanks in the convention center. This is like one of the second shows where I've seen stuff like this, and I'm just like, bro, like, so many companies and corporations, so many people that at a certain point are not okay with war, but if it means that they can make money, and make money at a generous wage where they feel comfortable giving up their time, energy, and effort, they're willing to contribute to war even if they don't believe in it. But we have a system that continues to do this because the options aren't prevalent for other people to exist in ways outside of this system. So like, if we continue to perpetrate the system, and the system continues to produce what it's meant to produce, how can we continue to be upset with the results if we're continue to contribute with them? I'm fucking tired, bro. Like, the shit that happened, and it sucks that like we continue to have opportunities to use people's trauma to point to the problems that we're seeing. And then me, I'm about to do it right now. That's the reason I had a heavy side, because like I don't want to keep pointing to other people's trauma to reasons why, right? Like, when do we start to see the good benefits of the transitions and the change that we want to see, and we can point to the joys and the successes of a new system as to reasons why we move forward, and not even move forward but move away, right? Like, one of the things that we've been conditioned since becoming a part of this system is that every new thing that we want and desire is ahead of us, right? When if you are the descendant of slaves, and if you are the descendant of slaves and your ancestry leads you back to being on the continent, when you board the boats, everything for you is in a direction, right? And everything, boom, once you're here, oh, just keep moving forward. Boom, just keep moving forward. Everything that you want is just ahead of you. Everything that you need is just ahead of you. Everything that you're looking for is just ahead of you. But what if it's not? What if it's not ahead? What if it's not back? What if it's away? What if it's away from this thing? I'm exhausted, bro. Like, I came home, made me a little toast. I've been making a lot of open face sandwiches, which is just toast. um, but like, I'm exhausted, bro. It's just, why do we keep doing this, man? The same ways, the same formats, but just in a different packaging. Everything is just, oh, it's just ahead of you. And then as soon as we get to what's just ahead, they redefine what enough is. They're redefining for us what these things that we're pursuing, and it feels like we're just constantly pursuing. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, right? Maybe it's what did that say? Said it's all in my head. But like, maybe it is just me. Maybe I'm not experiencing what everybody else is experiencing, but I feel like I'm experiencing this. And I feel like other people are experiencing this too, but it's just we're not we all have different pieces of the same puzzle. And unless we start putting these puzzle pieces together, we're going to keep looking at, we'll be like, oh, this is the sky. And we'll be like, oh, well, no, that's not the sky. When you get it with other pieces, that's actually water. And what you have is a piece of the water, and what you thought was clouds are actually like wave caps, and the wave caps look white, and so like out of context you think that this is the sky. And so we just have all these different puzzle pieces, and we trying to put these puzzle pieces together, but we're not communicating in ways in which each other can understand, and like we're not being vulnerable with one another, right? Like, we're afraid to be vulnerable, and we don't know that there's this fear of vulnerability that's stopping us from connecting with one another in which would in ways in which would allow for understanding and feeling and hearing and listening, right? Where we're trying to define the things that we see rather than just saying our perspective of it, where we're using is, and we're using such certain language, and that certainty of language is not it feels like it's not allowing space for nuance, right? So like what I was about to say, right? Keep everything keep moving forward, put it in different packaging, we still having the same results. So like when do we decide that hey, this is not what we want? This is this is not producing the results that we would expect from our placement in humanity, right? These are not the results that we're expecting from our placement in humanity. Therefore, we need to move away from this thing. And anyone who is looking for us to stay at this thing is not on our side. Anyone who is looking for us to stay in this thing is not on our side. Because if we determine that we're not getting the results that we want, what else is there, right? Right? You got a study partner and y'all keep failing the test. What you do? Change your method. You change your methods with that study partner. Add somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You move away from the tactics that's getting you these failing grades. Right now, I feel like we're getting failing grades. And so the incident that I was going to bring up was the Tyree Nichols incident, right? I decided, I think it was one day I was like, you know what? I've been working hard. Let me reward myself. I'm going to go get some sushi. So I go to the sushi restaurant. I'm sitting and seeing it. I'm sitting in the restaurant. Um, Sushi was phenomenal. It was some place in Eastern Market. Let me take a bite before this junk get cold, bro. So I'm in I'm in the sushi restaurant. I sit down. I don't really watch the news. CNN is on. The first time watching the news in a long time. This is probably a week after the Tyree Nichols incident. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even know, right? I hadn't been on social media. Hadn't been on regular. I hadn't been watching the news. This is what I see. I see I see black women. See black women at the desk, right? At the main CNN desk, talking about the jump. I see black women getting called in as experts. I see Don Lemon. He in the field. So black women at the desk, black women getting called in as experts, and I guess Don Lemon, cause a queer black man in the streets, right? You boom. Ooh. When the last time you seen you on an all black newscast right now? Getting what we want. We getting that representation that we want. But what are we talking about? We talking about a we talking about a we talking about a black man dying at the hands of, at that time, what was being displayed, 5 black men. A week after the incident, you got their professional headshots. You also got their mug shots. They were fired. And the chief of their department came out and said how deplorable, how disgusting, and how egregious the video was. And so the CNN coverage was in preparation of the drop of the video. CNN coverage was in preparation of the drop of the video, as if it was This is a quote from another friend, as if it was a movie premiere, premiering tonight. Watch live, live. Watch the video. Tyree Nichols. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting what you want, right? You're getting black women on the news, on the front desk. You're getting your representation. You're getting queer black men um, leading the news. Don Lemon's been on the news quite often, so you know what I'm saying. We get to see him quite often. We're appreciative of his presence and the work that he does. You get black women being called in as experts. You get police accountability. Within a week, the captain, the chief speaks out on the video. All of them are fired. Video drops. There's a sixth officer. Never saw his mugshot, never saw his professional headshot. There's a sixth officer. Never seen him plastered on the screen. He wasn't fired. Again, there's a sixth officer. What's different about this sixth officer? What's different about the sixth officer is that he's white. This whole time, we get everything we want. Police accountability when the officers are black. The protections that these black officers expected that they would have, that allowed them to believe that they could get away with the murder of Tyree Nichols. It's the same protection that white officers have gotten in the past every single time. So so we thought the solution was representation in a system that continues to show that representation just lets other people know that black people exist. We exist. Like, we exist. In the most human way possible, we exist. Black humanity is humanity. What's another quote from my man? Black futurism is futurism. You know what I'm saying? Like what are we talking about? Black Marxism is Marxism. Black radicalism is radicalism. Come on, bruh, like, but then we keep putting energy into this thing that doesn't even want us to exist. We have to keep yelling that we exist. We have to keep yelling that we exist. We have to keep contributing to a system that doesn't want to see us. We continue to contribute energy, effort, time, creativity, passion, love, pain, bro, pain into this thing that doesn't want to see any of it. And we keep contributing in a pathway to freedom. This ain't getting us free. So when do we decide that you can no longer set the goalposts for us? What you have is not what we want. Your definition of enough is not our definition of enough. Like, getting into this system, making a lot of money is cool, fine, whatever, like, cool. That shit still leaves so many of us behind. Listening to one of my favorite stations as of late, WPFW, and it's just like, bruh, like, even like the myth that there isn't enough space for all of us. This idea of like black elites having this idea, getting into this space of like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, having that same mentality as capitalist elites, and like, bro, that ain't it, bro. Cause look what continue. Just look at the results of the system. More African American men in prison now than was in slavery. You see what I'm saying? Like the not only are we not getting the results that we want, it's getting worse. We gotta redefine our definition of enough, cause this ain't enough, bro. These pursuits are empty pursuits, void of the love and care for one another, void of the love and care that is created in communities. This is exhausting, bro. Absolutely exhausting. To continue to pursue in this way, to continue to pursue. Come on, bro. We better than this. And like I said, this is not cross, this is not, bro, this is not only for African Americans. This is not only for black people. This is whatever category you want to put us in. This is not only for us. This is for humanity. The pursuit of black freedom is the pursuit of freedom. The pursuit of black humanity is the pursuit of humanity. As long as you, as long as we are allowing us, I don't even know, but as long as we not looked at as a part of the entire human population, all of our efforts will not be looked at as a holistic thing. But the same, like, look at the disregard for the people that's in East Palestine, Ohio. It's not only black people over there. It's not only black people in that Midwest area. Look at the disregard for humanity in so many aspects from the United States. But look at the disregard for humanity. Look at the things that they support. Look at the things that they back. Look at the wars that they fund. You know what I'm saying? This is not a pursuit for blackness. This is the pursuit for humanity. Like, for a second, just think outside of yourself and like understand this shit ain't easy for nobody, bro. Meeting people on the job and they talking about the incidents from what Shorty was telling me, incidents from Freddie Gray, how when they was breaking into the pharmacies, that's how the fentanyl start getting into neighborhoods in Baltimore. That's how one of the ways fentanyl was getting into the communities in Baltimore. We look at the opioid epidemic, where we look at the medicinal properties of marijuana and how it's impacting people who are having these diseases and dealing with chronic pain, and how marijuana is helping them in a more natural and effective way without without addiction. But we got companies and corporations who want to push opioids, create the problem of the opioid epidemic, but then we also give them the opportunity to be the solution to the problem that they created. And so now they get to make money off of our pain and off of the quote unquote healing that they provide. Man, I'm fed up, bro. I'm tired, bro. And we just keep it going. We just keep it going. And the people that keep it going are the ones who are harmed by the system that continues, man. Man, I'm about to eat my toast and be quiet, bro. Don't forget, man, we fucking plant food anyway. Man, yeah, I'm gonna eat my toast and call it a wrap, bro. I got home from work. I just had to get something off my chest. But you know what it is. It's peace. Don't forget, people, places, and things don't have to be perfect to be enjoyed, including yourself. Peace.